Hey everybody, I'm super excited because I am here with my dear friend Tasha Lee from Fruitarian Diabetic, and she has an incredible story to tell, and I'm super excited for her to share it with you because I think so many people need to hear what she has to say, and her story is just fascinating, and I personally think that Tasha is a warrior, and I'm super excited to have this conversation. So, hi, Tasha.
I just want to give you a big hug.
Hugs!
I mean, I can't really hug.
So, tell us a little bit about you and your story about because you have type 1 diabetes and you follow a fruit diet, which most people would think that's just craziness. How'd you get into finding the raw fruit lifestyle?
Okay, well, I got to the fruit lifestyle because I had been eating a worse than standard American diet for many years, like 15 years of a serious eating disorder. And so part of my recovery process was finding out an unselfish way to nourish my body. And I had tried some different diets, well, lots of diets during those years. But when I had finally recovered from my eating disorder and was looking for a way to eat, someone sent me a story about the Botenko family and how Sergey had healed his type 1 diabetes. And there were all these testimonials about people with diabetes and raw food. And I was like, well, let's give it a shot. So I tried different raw food diet approaches and landed on the fruit-based diet as the one that worked the best for me.
Wait, Sergey healed type 1?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that about him.
There are a few people who have healed their type 1, but it was always very shortly after their diagnosis. So we have like a short time period where our pancreases are still working a little bit. And I think if people catch it during that time and start doing something about it, then they have a possibility of totally healing.
That's fascinating. So you've been following the diet for how long now, the fruit diet?
I've been on fruit-based diet for 5 years now.
Yay! Wow, 5 years. Okay, cool.
Never thought that day would come.
Wow, I know. I'm coming up on 7 and I'm like, it just goes so fast. So
after the first couple of years.
Yeah, it does. That's true. After the first couple of years, it does go faster. So you were doing really well, right? And then you started having issues and you found out it was mold, right? Or is there a little more to that? Tell us about this story.
Okay. Well, I did have a lot of improvements right off the bat. Probably the first month was wonderful. And then when I started the second month, my body just crashed. And so I did a lot of testing and found out I was deficient in vitamin D. I was deficient in vitamin B12. So I was probably already like on the edge or at least very close to deficient before. And then right at that time, I decided to crash. So I spent like the next 9 months trying to fix my vitamin D deficiency. The B12 was a lot faster, but D took forever. And then I just kept on discovering more and more deficiency. So like I had mineral deficiency, iodine deficiency, essential fatty acid deficiency, essential amino acid deficiency. So each one of these that I corrected, I felt better and better. But like my main thing was tiredness. I was just tired all the time. So each one, it got better and better. And I was eating more and more simply. And so I felt better doing that. And just everything I could think of to feel better. I was working so hard. And so I was getting better and better. But then we discovered the toxic mold in our apartment. This was like 3 years into the fruit-based diet. And after that, everything kind of exploded. And maybe it was 4 years. I don't know. Anyway, I'm at 5 years now. So the last year we've been dealing with the mold. So I guess it was 4 years. So yeah, when we discovered the mold, and then I had a really bad exposure because we didn't know a thing about mold. We didn't know that it's not okay to just try and clean it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I had like 3 weeks of intense exposure, and I just got very sick. And then I was sleeping outside to because I couldn't handle indoor environments because I got so sensitive to everything. And then I got sick, I think, from sleeping outside in the geoengineering.
Yay, fun.
AKA trails.
So it's not one thing, it's another, right? Oh, okay. Wow. So from there, then you discovered so many things along the way. Like from there, then tell us more about what you discovered about your health and things that started happening.
Okay, well, when I got very, very sick, I mean, I'm saying that I couldn't take care of myself. I was dependent on my husband as a caregiver. I couldn't digest most foods. I was having spasms and my brain stopped working. My memory, I lost my memory. I couldn't function. I couldn't watch videos. I couldn't read anything. I couldn't process incoming information. So I was pretty much not functioning. And at this, I mean, I had already been trying so many things to figure out what was not working because I was doing everything right. I was even in this fresh air all the time, which now I know is not so fresh, but I didn't know that at the time. And I got tested for Lyme disease, and it's apparently very difficult to get it to show up on a test. So my friend who has Lyme said you take the antimicrobials first, and somehow it activates the immune thing so that it does show up if you've got it.
Oh, wow.
So when I took those antimicrobials, then I got like a reaction to that. And around the same time, I was starting the Dr. Morse detox herbs and the parasite herbs, and I got a bad reaction to that, and I started feeling things crawling in me. So at that point, I was like, oh, I guess I have parasites. So that was kind of the beginning of the parasite cleansing, and it's been like 8 or 9 months now of parasite cleansing, and things are still coming out. And all along this, I've just been getting better and better and better and better.
I know. It's like finally you're seeing benefits and results, and you can function better. But yet it's amazing that stuff is still coming out.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, so I do have Lyme disease, and I've had it for a long time.
Wow.
Apparently. And that one of the main co-infections of Lyme is parasites. So I've probably got really bad infestation. And so I've heard it's going to be a long process.
Wow. But I'm amazed at how far you've come, because I remember seeing some of your videos where I was just like, this poor girl is just so struggling with this, and it was so awful to see you struggling, and just to see you in that way just broke my heart. But to see you now like so happy and feeling good and just moving up the ladder towards a higher place of health and vitality is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So all you viewers, Alicia was one of my biggest supporters during this whole thing because I knew she had parasites.
Yeah, having parasites
It's been
is
wonderful.
Crazy. Yeah, so you did so many things for your parasites. You did way more than I did, because obviously your case was so much bigger than mine. So tell everybody all the processes that you went through to get to this point where you're at now, where you're starting to feel better. And
okay, that's going to be a big answer.
We're ready.
Okay, so it started with the parasite herbs, and because I was so sick and so toxic, I couldn't handle them. My body just was so overwhelmed, and I was just getting sicker from the die-off. So because when you kill them, they release toxins, and at the same time, I had started green juicing because I couldn't digest food. And I was like, where am I going to get my protein? I can't digest seeds. I can't digest protein powder. I can't digest lettuce. I can't digest dates. I can't digest like anything. And so I was really concerned. So at that time I started the green juicing and was really trying to get those romaine juices and get some protein in. And so I was doing 8 juices a day, which I have since learned, if you know anything about Gerson therapy, you're supposed to do 1 coffee enema per 3 juices, because the juices kick toxins out of the cells, and then they're floating around in your system. They always say, don't do the juicing without the coffee enemas. Don't do the coffee enemas without the juicing, because the coffee enemas help the liver to detox. It produces glutathione in your body, like 600% increase, and that is the master detoxer.
Wow. So the body naturally produces this in conjunction with the coffee enema?
Yeah, it stimulates your body naturally produces it, but the coffee enemas stimulate it somehow.
Wow. Okay.
So I was doing twice as many green juices as I should have been for even one coffee enema, and I wasn't doing any coffee enema. So I had all these toxins being released from my cells and just floating around in here, causing damage. So I had a Gerson friend, who's like, you got to do the coffee enemas. I'm like, no, enemas are bad. Coffee enemas are bad. But when I was like so scared I was going to die, I called her up crying. I'm like, okay, what do I do? So that was the beginning of the coffee enemas, and it immediately made a difference. And in a few days, I was feeling like so much better.
Wow.
So that was the start of the coffee enemas, and I started doing those every day. And she also told me about the 3 juices per coffee enema thing, so I backed down to only 3 juices. And even the green juices were too much for me because I was so toxic. So I switched to carrot juice, which was much gentler and still was able to give me nutrients. So I did carrot juice for a long time. So at the beginning, it was coffee enemas plus the herbs. I stopped the herbs and was just doing the coffee enemas and juices. And then I talked to my friend Alicia. I was like, these things are crawling. Like, the coffee enemas made them start the beginning of the parasite herbs and the coffee enema, the combination. I saw the worms come out and I felt them crawling all over me, and I was like, this is making me crazy. So I had another friend who suggested doing the zapper, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna do that, or maybe I'd already ordered and hadn't used it. So I started doing the zapper, and that was so awesome, because the crawling things, I would put the zapper on them when I'm like, it's crawling up into my throat, and so I put the zapper there, and they didn't like the zapper. They would start trying to run away, and then they would kind of throb, and then stop. So it was great. It made me stop feeling them, and pretty quickly I stopped feeling the crawling, and then I just kept wearing the zapper and doing the coffee enemas in the juices for quite a while. I'm going to take a banana ice cream bite here. You want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm going to close my blinds so that I'm not being blinded by the light. Hold on.
Blinded by the light.
Okay, good. So that's another thing that I wanted to just briefly bring up, because you and I were both similar in the fact that when we started the 80-10-10 fruit-based lifestyle, we both followed it super strictly, or like to the T, of how natural hygiene should be done, which for me, it was great because it really helped me heal so many things. And I think it is awesome for doing for a period of time. But then I started noticing I was having cravings for certain things like salt and like the apple cider vinegar. And when I started incorporating those things, I started doing better. Some things, some issues I was having started to improve. And so you kind of had the same thing where you were like, no, coffee enemas are bad, and juicing, we shouldn't have to juice. But yet you started doing those things and the coffee enemas and started seeing dramatic improvement. So that's one thing that I just want to impress upon people is listen to your body and don't be afraid to experiment with certain things and try things, because you just never know what's going to happen. Maybe something will improve.
Right. So after I had been using the zapper and the coffee enemas for a while, I was feeling so much better. My energy was so much improved. I wasn't feeling the crawling. Things were coming out of me everywhere. And I was starting to exercise on the beach and like have a life again. And so I'm like, well, I think I'm ready to try the herbs again. And so I moved up to trying the parasite herbs and was able to tolerate them this time. So those definitely, the Dr. Moore's parasite herbs were very helpful in getting things out. And I think my whole parasite process or cleansing process has been, just seeing what my body can handle and doing that, and then stepping it up a little bit more. And then doing that for a while, and then stepping it up a little bit more, so that I'm always kind of pushing it a little bit, but I never want to feel bad, because it's not helpful for my body to be feeling bad from overdoing it.
Yeah, the stress can really affect you in a negative way. Even though your body's, getting rid of a lot of stuff, you still don't want to put that much stress on your body. You want to do it gently and do as much as your body can handle, but not so much that you're just down for the count.
Mm-hmm. And the die-off toxins, like if it's circulating in me because things are dying off and I'm not getting them out fast enough, that is not helpful at all. So I have to say, one of the things about feeling good was I started using the basic zapper that you sell, and it's killed things. And I was like, wow, this is really helping. It opened up my lungs, which had been so tight from the mold. But after like a week or so, I started feeling the die-off stuff. And I was like, I had this really bad headache. And right about this time, I think I had got the Terminator zapper, or maybe it had just arrived, and I'm like, yes, let's try it out. And I switched to that, and like within 5 minutes, my terrible headache was gone.
Wow.
And I just started feeling good all the time.
Yay.
Like it made such a huge difference to wear the Terminator, because it's got the magnet, and I don't even know what all the healing things are in it, but it really that started to make me feel really good. And I was able to add on other cleansing methods on top of that. Yeah, I'm going to take a bite of banana ice cream.
Go for it. Oh, you used apple cider vinegar too. Tell us about that. Why did you bring that into your diet, and what did that help?
One day, I had cleared a lot of parasites out of my gut, and so I was starting to be able to digest more and more. I was starting to be able to get, I could raise my zinc level finally. I'd been trying to raise that forever, and it wasn't coming up. So I was getting more parasites out, and finally my level came up. Things were feeling good down there. I was able to start trying new foods, and in general, it was just nice. But I still felt like some crawling stuff from time to time, and I'm like,
in your gut.
Yeah. And I'm like, I think there's still something there. And I was ready to try the GI broom, which is a Dr. Morse herb that really, it cleans the gut. It's got binders that kind of pull stuff through and really clean stuff out. So I tried that, and I just felt, I don't know, I was just craving the apple cider vinegar. So I took it you're supposed to take like a huge thing of water. And so I put the apple cider vinegar in there and took it with a GI broom, and it was just so lovely. I loved it so much. My body loved it. It really helped. So I just started doing it like every time I took the GI broom, which was most days. Then I also took the apple cider vinegar, and really made a difference. I notice on days when I don't use it, I don't have as much coming out. And so let's see, the GI broom. I also did NAET, which is an allergy elimination technique. It's energy therapy that I never would have tried, but I tried it because I was dying. This was actually early on, right after I had done the coffee enemas and zapper, and I was still wearing a mask at that time, a respirator mask, because I couldn't go anywhere in public without collapsing because I was so sensitive to everything. So I started this treatment that basically opens up your energy channels in the presence of problematic substances. Like for me, mold was huge. Well, everything, chemicals, fragrances, blah, blah, blah. So when I started doing that treatment, that also made parasites come out, because they kind of cling to the toxins. They like the toxic environment. So if you're cleaning, like one of them was for plastics, and that was a huge detox, and a lot of parasites came out with that. And
Wow.
I've done heavy metals. They cling to heavy metals. So, when those come out, the parasites come out too. So that's been actually really huge in my parasite cleansing too. And did you want to say something?
I was going to mention the little vibration tool that you use. How do you share that?
That was my homework from Nate the first time. I was like, I don't really want homework, but yeah, it was, actually right here.
Nice.
This is a massager, and you're supposed to put it on the pressure points, all these various places around your body, and this was like a follow-up for my treatment. Well, I found that it was wonderful, like on my pressure points, and it helped some of my sores heal where the things were coming out, and I'm like, that's interesting. So I just started experimenting and using it around my body and found that it really, really worked to make things come out. A lot of stuff came out on my face and through my eyes as I used that, and it was a pretty crazy experience. This is really great because it makes all my, like, if I have symptoms that aren't going away from just wearing the zapper, this makes them go away.
Nice.
So it makes me feel good too.
That's really good. And that was around the time when the whole Morgellons thing came to the forefront, right? When you started using that little device, it's kind of like it kind of woke up the Morgellons and pushed it out. Is that right?
I don't know exactly. I think that the first thing I noticed that was coming out was the worms, but as I started, clearing the worms out, then the things were coming out through my skin. And yeah, I think it was the Morgellons, and I would take pictures of them and zoom in. Like from far away, it didn't look like much, but zoomed in, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just these creepy fibers. So yeah, and the Morgellons really do not like magnets, and I learned that after the fact. So I'm like, oh, that's why it works so well. They move away from magnets, and they go in our acupressure points, which is why the Nate's treatment, I think, helps so much, is because it cleans those energy channels. It moves things through and kind of breaks up the blockage.
Wow. And now are you doing more magnet therapy? Like the necklace you have on, is that magnets?
It is. And did you notice my headband matches my necklace?
Oh, it does. That's really cool.
But this is not a magnet.
Oh, it's not. I was going to say that would be really intense to have a magnet on your head and kind of be from head to toe with magnets, like just sending them away. Get out of my body kind of thing.
Yeah. I have actually put a piece of the magnet on my head one time when I had a headache. I was trying to survive a social event, and it really helped. It made that headache go away.
Wow.
But yeah, I have the magnets. I started out with a necklace, and I ended up putting them on wrists and ankles, and definitely that made more Morgellons come out. And when I started using the magnets in combination with the parasite herbs, I started having these spasms the spasms I was originally having when I was very sick had kind of gone away as I was doing the parasite cleansing. But then as I kicked it up and I did the magnets that they don't like, the parasite herbs that they don't like, and then my body was I would just like crazy spasms.
Wow.
And then sleeping in borax. I have borax in my sheets now. That was another thing. I would get in bed and I would like spaz in different parts of my body, and because they don't like that at all. And
what does the borax do? Does it go into your skin? How does that work?
Well, I guess they come out of you at night. So sleeping in the borax, you want to kill them so that they don't just keep reinfecting you. So I guess the borax kills the eggs, but I don't know. I've watched the fibers. I have it on video where the fibers, I have like a ball of the fibers that have come out of my head, and they're moving like the next day, weeks later. So I have this ball of fibers, and I put the borax on them, and it was a creepy video because this fiber is just like, it was like it was trying to get away, like angry. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was in my body, and it came out of me yesterday.
Wow. I need to see that video. I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, pretty creepy. So, I mean, as I was watching them do that, I'm like, that's the same movements my body has when it spasms. And they some of the Lyme co-infections go into your muscles and your bones. And I guess the parasites that are in you kind of like morph together somehow and help each other out. They'll like hide in there's a biofilm protection, like kind of a slimy thing. And I don't know, somehow as you get rid of some, it gets rid of others. But they go into, the muscles and nerves and everything's infected, DNA.
Wow.
So, doing this stuff, I can see them getting mad and stuff.
Wow. That is amazing. That's why you're a warrior. To be able to handle everything you've been through, you are such a warrior. It's amazing.
And then when I'm not feeling warriorish, I text Alicia and cry a little bit, and she's like, keep thinking positive. Don't entertain those negative thoughts because they like that yucky environment in there. You got to stay positive. So I'm like, okay, gratitude.
Yes, gratitude. Oh, that's the deal right there.
Be silly, laugh.
Yes, funny movies, anything you can do to raise your vibration. Get it up there.
Oh, we made a parasite cleansing wrap. Did you see that?
I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch that. That was one on my list of things to watch. I got to do that. Got to see it.
That was very helpful for me and just laughing about everything.
That's awesome.
Being positive.
Yes. So you've had even changes in your body too, because you posted some photos of how your body shape had changed too from the processes that you've been doing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Sure. Well, as I mentioned, I have these different deficiencies. And so as I addressed each of those deficiencies, I was losing weight, getting more of the body size I needed to be, but it was very slow. And I should also mention that parasites are so connected to deficiencies because they steal your nutrients and, mess up the gut, mess up your absorption. So that's probably a huge reason why I had all these deficiencies. Anyway, as I addressed the deficiencies, I was getting to to more the size I'm supposed to be at. But then as I started cleansing the parasites, my belly that has had, different things would slim down, but I always had this little pouch in the front of my belly that wasn't going away. And as I started the parasite cleansing, it started to go away. I'm like, I guess that parasites were living in there,
Wow.
So that definitely has slimmed down, and my arms, are looking a lot slimmer, and just different things all over my body. It's just, I'm like, wow, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm eating the exact same diet. I'm doing the exact same exercise routine. All that I've changed is parasite cleansing. And now I'm getting to where I'm supposed to be.
That's crazy, but it's so amazing. I can tell just by looking at you now. I mean, you look slimmer. Your face looks slimmer. You look great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tasha is currently enjoying some frozen banana ice cream. One thing that I thought was so fascinating was your, what do you call them, age spots? You had age spots and liver spots, or are they considered the same thing? They were showing up on your face and...
Mm-hmm. When I was very sick from the toxic mold, I started getting these age spots all over. My skin was looking very wrinkly. I'm like, I look so old in the space of a few months.
Wow.
And the first time I did the coffee enema, maybe the first couple of days, I was looking at my face and I'm like, wow, I look so much younger just from doing a coffee enema, just from doing 2-3 days of coffee enemas, because finally my body was detoxing all this stuff that was making it look old. Like, if you hear about liver spots, I mean, when our liver gets overburdened, it's not getting rid of the toxins and ends up coming out like other ways. Or another thing that I noticed was as I was doing the parasite cleansing, those liver spots, I also got all these like freckly type things. I started to have things come out of those.
Really?
Little wormy looking things or fibers.
Out of the spots?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I don't know what exactly it was coming out, but it was not a pimple. It was not like a whitehead. It was, I saw something going in and out and in and out. And I'm like, whoa, that's a little
Wow.
creepy, and all over. And they didn't, it wasn't like a normal thing where like if you squeeze it and then it's done. I mean, they're different. So yeah, I had things coming out of those spots on my face. And I also saw lines appearing, especially like when I would take the parasite herbs and things started coming out more rapidly. So I would see lines connecting the different spots, and the lines would change. And the spots where I had like wrinkles, when I would use the magnet massager, stuff would come out of those wrinkles.
Wow.
It looks kind of like dead skin sort of, but I know it's not because it came on because I was using this, and it just, is very related and there's a pattern I see throughout my body when it comes out. It came out in different places, like in my foot, or sometimes my fingers would get these crevices in them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would come out of those crevices in my fingers after using the herbs. So yeah, that was the whole age thing, and I started to see that things were getting younger looking as I was cleansing, and the wrinkles were going away. The age spots were going away. So there are people who do believe that the age spots are indication of parasites.
So interesting. And amazing that the coffee enemas can help them go away. So you noticed changes right away within the first few days of doing the coffee enemas. Did you saw the spots disappearing? Or did it take more like weeks to notice those spots disappearing?
I noticed my face looked really young is what I noticed right away. It was more as I continued and saw things coming out of those that stuff started to go away. And even now I still have a bunch of the spots, and it's been kind of slow to make them go away, but I've got it all over my body. It's not going to go away overnight, but I'm watching and I'm starting to get like white patches around where the spot is, and the little worm line or whatever line it is, I'll get a white patch, and it's really interesting to watch. And then they're kind of, some are fading away or
Wow. So are you working on a book at all to document this whole journey of yours? Have you thought about writing a book and all the processes that you've gone through?
I do have that. I've started on it, but it's like there's so many other things to do. I gotta make videos about all this. I don't know. So yes, it's in the works, but we'll see if it happens.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad that you're at least putting something into it, because I think that would be huge. I mean, your story, it's such an inspiration for so many people, and anybody who's watching this and is going, oh my gosh, I have that symptom, they're going to be able to look at you and say, if she can do this and go through this, I can do it. Which is the moral of the story.
Thank you for that encouragement.
You're welcome.
You reminded me the symptom thing. I had a lot of symptoms that got better on the fruit-based diet. A lot of people who come to a fruit-based diet or raw food diet, their symptoms get better. And this whole list of symptoms that got better, I can look at it now and see those were parasite symptoms. But I had no idea. Like, I remember you talking about parasites, Alicia, and I read that, and I'm like, oh, it could be that, but it could be something else, I don't want to believe I have parasites.
Yeah. Yeah.
But looking back, I'm like, wow, that's probably why it got better, because the raw food diet is naturally cleansing.
Right.
And so it does help with that. So I noticed as I was doing this, how many symptoms and body systems are affected by the parasites, like all over. My vision, my hearing, my teeth, my hair, my muscles, my digestion, my female area, my hips, like all my joints, different joint pain. I mean, so many things are affected by, because they go all over your body.
Right.
So it's like such a wide, my brain, I'm a totally different person than when I was sick. My memory is back. I'm my real happy self, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't have any tolerance for anything. I was so angry, and getting them out, amazing. So it really does affect so many things. And I just feel like there's so many people who have symptoms, and, you know, we're told that most of us have parasites. You know, it's a natural part of life. But I think those of us who have symptoms, it's probably because things are out of balance there. And I think everybody could probably benefit from some cleansing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So true. Again, seriously, you're such an inspiration and such a warrior. That is like what I think of when I think of you. You're such a warrior to go through all of this and to come out the other side doing so much better is amazing, because I see the comments that people post on your blog, and they're so desperate and hurting and suffering. And I know when they read your story or see you on YouTube or wherever they find you, you are a ray of hope for them because of what you've been through. And so it's so great to know that what you've gone through hasn't been in vain, that it is such an inspiration for so many people and can help so many people. And that's why I'm so glad that we're sharing your story today, because I know it's going to help somebody out there, even if it just helps one person. You've done your job. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your encouragement and for sharing it with all of your friends here, you know, because I totally agree. I mean, I think in the mold world, in the Lyme world, in the parasite world, everybody is so hopeless. In the Morgellons world, I read on the groups and it is depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't even read that. And so I just gotta, like you said, focus on the positive. And I just feel like, yes, I'm so grateful, first of all, to know that there is a reason why things weren't going well. I'm so happy to have an answer. I'm so happy to be feeling better. And I am so happy to have hope to offer people. You know, I feel like I'm getting so many questions now, and I'm constantly, you know, helping people. And I'm like, you know what? There's no better thing to be doing. I mean, that's why I'm here on this earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to love people, to serve people. And I'm just so grateful that God has brought me through this to have something to give.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to know all the answers and be able to help people before, and I didn't know answers. I didn't know how to fix things. And now I'm like, well, now I know.
You're the go-to girl.
Learned quite a lot through this horrible journey.
Yeah. I mean, I even come to you now and have questions for you. Even though I've had my whole parasite experience, it was nothing compared to yours. So I'm even now coming to you asking questions just out of curiosity and wanting to know more, especially to help other people, because you've got this huge knowledge bank now of so much because you've done all the research.
Yeah, it's been really, like, when all the raw food educators, all the doctors, anybody didn't know how to help me. You know, lab tests looked fine.
Right.
And yet I'm dying, you know. I think having to be desperate and just find people who had some kind of answers. Like, I had some Lyme friends that really, really helped me, you know, and just encouraged me to keep going. And I mean, I feel like now it's like, I feel like all the raw food educators, this is one thing that they don't know about. Right. Or, you know, maybe it's like, oh, it's not a big deal because we're getting rid of it with our diet. Mm-hmm. But there are people who are struggling, and I just feel so blessed to be like, guess what? Here's a missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to try these other things that maybe 80-10-10 or the natural hygiene or other raw food lifestyles may say, oh, you don't need to do that or you shouldn't do that.
Right.
You're the prime example of why you should try these things, because it might help you. It might be the answer. Your life. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody who is interested in learning more about Tasha's story, I definitely encourage you to check out her blog, her website, and her YouTube, all of which are, your website is fruitariandiabetic.com, right?
Well, that's the fruit and diabetes one. My main website is tashalee.org, and my blog on there's a link to the MCS, or you can go tashalee.org/MCS.
MCS. And then your YouTube is?
It's healthyskinnybeautiful.com.
Perfect. And then your book for anybody who's interested in healing diabetes with fruit is...
It's on both of the websites.
Both of the websites. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It was so fun. We have to connect like this more often because we never get to really connect this way, and I love it. So
yes,
great.
I agree.
Okay, cool. Thank you.